Today we're talking about one of the most important scenes from episode 4 of The Chosen, specifically the miracle of the fish and the calling of the brothers. This was an amazing scene, from the cinematography to the acting to the writing and the special effects. Seriously, what a good job they did. So let's get into it. Welcome to The Snipe Life, where we look at creativity through the lens of Christianity. The way that The Chosen has decided to portray the miracle of the fish is most closely related to the recording in Luke. Now in scripture we see that Jesus has called these fishermen in 3 out of the 4 gospels, but in Luke it's the most detailed and has specifically the miracle of the fish within it. But we can clearly tell here, as we've seen in many other places, that The Chosen does an amazing job of following the scripture here, and kind of filling in the context of what we may have missed. Of course, a lot of The Chosen is speculative. We don't have a time machine, we can't go back in time and see what these things were actually like, and we don't have the full context sometimes from scripture. So let's take it with a grain of salt, and let's dive into the show to see exactly how this was portrayed.
Cast after cast. I will make your descendants as many as the stars in the heavens. And then what? Huh? Make the chosen as many as the stars. Only to let Egypt enslave us for generations. Bring us out of Egypt. Part the Red Sea. Only to let us wander in the desert for 40 years. Give us the land, only to let us be exiled in Babylon. Bring us back, only to be crushed by Rome. This is the God I've served so faithfully my entire life. You're the God I'm supposed to thank. You know, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you enjoy yanking us around like goats and can't decide whether we're chosen or not. Which one is it? Huh?
Simon!
Andrew?
Who are you talking to?
Apparently no one.
You shouldn't joke like that, my friend. Yeah, your friends might think you've lost faith.
James and John, I presume. And who brought the old man?
I heard you need a real fisherman.
How'd you know I was here?
Eden may be angry, but she's not too proud to ask for help.
So let's recap a little bit. We know that Simon Peter has been helping the Romans. Even at the beginning of this episode, we saw him as he was out on a boat with a bunch of Romans, and he finds a bobber with a Z on it, meaning Zebedee, someone that he knows in the community. He might even be friends with him. And so this is a predicament for him. He doesn't want to turn in Zebedee, and so he makes up some excuse, and he makes the Romans run into a sand barge to stop this whole thing from happening. Although the Romans pick up pretty quickly that Simon is probably a traitor and not wanting to fulfill the duty that he's told them that he would. So the timeline gets accelerated. Quintus is not ready to just sit around and wait for Simon to do what he's promised that he's going to do. He doesn't trust him. Remember, he's a Jew. And Quintus has made it very clear how the Romans feel about Jews. Later on, he goes home and has a huge argument with Eden as well, his wife. We're going to have a whole episode on this, so make sure you're subscribed so you can watch that later on. His brother literally runs home and tells him that the Messiah is finally here, but Simon Peter's not in a place to understand any of that. He doesn't believe him, and he just moves on, chalking it up to Andrew's crazy ideas again. He's informed by Matthew that tomorrow Quintus is going to come and collect him. And, well, he doesn't have anything to show for what he's promised he's going to deliver to Quintus. So, what does he do? The only thing that he knows really how to do: fish. I know that Brandon Robbins has an amazing video on this episode as well, so if you're interested in how the Jewish people would fish or how their nets worked and all of that, you can go over there and check that video out as well. But all of this situation brings us to here, this scene, where Peter is alone in a boat, just in the dark, fishing all night long by himself. He's not catching a single thing, and all of this is leading him to question God, to yell out to God, not only for himself, but also for the Jewish people in general. How many times has God led them somewhere and he feels like they've been abandoned? He feels like now, because the Romans are in control of everything, that God has abandoned them yet again. And now in this situation, personally, he feels like God has abandoned him, led him into the situation where he's incredibly in debt and has no way to pay the Romans' taxes. I think this is an amazing way to explain kind of the mentality that someone might have during this time, to explain kind of the culture behind the Jewish people and the Roman people and their relationship that they had. And it really does bring Simon Peter to the bottom of the barrel. He has nothing left to give, and he knows that there's nothing that he can do to help the situation. There's nothing that anybody can do, or so he thinks, to help the situation. Then, as he's crying out to God, he hears the voice of his brother and his friends, James and John, and their father Zebedee. They come to help him for the night and to fish with him. He doesn't want to hear about this Messiah again from Andrew, and he is just wallowing in self-pity. And though they make it through the night together, there's not a single fish to show for it. How hard would that be? Have you ever been in a moment like that where you feel like you want God to give you something, but he just doesn't? For whatever reason, you're either not ready for it or he's not willing to give it to you, or you're frustrated with God's plan and you just want to get to the destination, but you can't yet. I know that I have. There's been times when I've had to wait for something in my life and it just can't get there quick enough. But Peter's end of the road does not look good. He's not waiting for a good destination. He's trying to run away from a bad one. And so this is a really hard situation. So I understand where he's coming from. Let's jump ahead a bit and continue on in this scene.
All right. Time to be done.
Boys! Roman scum couldn't even wait! We're right with you.
Make sure your dinner's safe. You hear me, Andrew?
Hey! Those aren't soldiers.
I might still have time to see Eden.
We're going to clean our nets. Stick around to make sure you can leave.
Simon, it's him.
Excuse me.
That's him. Simon, that's him.
No time for this, Andrew.
It's him. Simon, it's the man. John said he's here. Right now.
May I ask a favor? I'm teaching these people and apparently they're having trouble hearing me. If I could stand on your boat, that would be helpful.
They're having trouble hearing you, huh?
Yes, yes, of course. Please, please, stand on my boat. Thank you.
I need to go. I'm sorry. No time for this today.
Stay a few moments longer. I have something for you.
For me. I'm in a hurry.
Yes, I know. Just allow me a few moments. Please.
Simon, trust me as I have trusted you. This man is the Messiah.
It's good to see you again, Andrew.
Yes.
I'm Jesus. Thanks for this.
Simon.
In my last moments with you, I want to share another story. Can everyone hear me? Well, let's thank our friends for this strong boat, huh? Trust me, my yelling voice is not easy on the ears. Because I'm on this boat, my final parable should be about fishing, yes? Simon, please send me that net. when this net is thrown into the sea, what happens, Simon?
Well,
I mean most of the time.
it gathers.
A little louder.
It gathers fish.
Yes. This net gathers fish. All kinds of fish, yes?
Yes.
All kinds of fish. And the kingdom of heaven is like what happens next. After the net is full, Simon and the others draw it to the shore, sit down, and sort out the fish. The good fish go into the barrels, and the bad fish thrown away. So it will be at the end of the age. Angels will come and separate the evil from the righteous and throw them into a fiery furnace. Do you understand? Therefore, every scribe who has been trained for the kingdom of heaven, like you all are now, is like the master of a house who brings forth his treasures, both new and old. You are to do the same with this knowledge. These parables I tell make sense to some, not to others. Be patient. That is all for today. I have some business to attend to with my new friend.
So here we see the first time that Andrew and Simon Peter have met Jesus. They're pulling up from a whole night of fishing and not even catching a single fish. And Andrew immediately recognizes Jesus as they're pulling up. He shouts out, "It's him, it's him." And still, Simon Peter doesn't fully get it. He doesn't understand. Even seeing Jesus face to face and Andrew saying that he's the Messiah, Simon Peter still doesn't fully believe. But Jesus has something to say here. And as always, he's got a parable to share with his students. Now again, The Chosen has said that they're going to move certain timelines around and try to fit the story better for TV, right? And so there's two things mainly that are moved around here. One is this happens right after Jesus' baptism. Where does Jesus go after he's baptized? Well, he goes right into the wilderness, and that's where he's confronted by Satan and all of that. So technically he wouldn't be here during this time, but again, we're letting that slide for the story here. Secondarily, this parable is actually, at least not said that it was said here, but he says it later on, right before the death of John the Baptist in Matthew. But this parable is here because it serves a specific point for Simon Peter, because he's going to call him, and we're going to see that in a little bit. But you can still see here that Simon Peter's having a hard time. He still doesn't fully get this Jesus guy, and why he's here and what he's doing. And remember, part of this may be because they saw the Messiah in a completely different way. They thought that he was going to be a warrior, a king that would come and destroy the Romans. Jesus doesn't quite look like that. Let's continue on and see what all of this culminates to.
Put that down for a catch. A little farther out.
I don't have a quarrel with you, teacher. But we've been doing this all night. Nothing. All right. At your word.
Let's go! Push it, pull on! Emma, bring it in! Hold on! Push it!
Simon, I told you. I told you. I told you.
So here we see the miracle of the fish. And again, like I said, this is most closely related to the depiction in Luke. And so I want to take a look at some of that scripture and then dive deep into this scene and talk maybe a little bit about the special effects as well, because that was amazing. Now remember, in Matthew and in Mark, this scene actually doesn't play out this way. At least it doesn't seem like it. It just kind of shows that Jesus walked up and then told the four of them to follow him, and then he left. So it doesn't show this part. But in Luke, we get a deeper story. So we see here in the beginning of Luke chapter 5 that Jesus does exactly what is said in scripture here. You know, he gets into Simon's boat, he begins to teach the crowd, and then he turns to Simon and begins to, well, do this miracle. It says this: "And when he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, 'Put out into the deep, and let down your nets for a catch.' And Simon answered, 'Master, we toil all night and took nothing, but at your word I will let down the nets.' And when they had done this, they enclosed a large number of fish, and their nets were breaking. They signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them, and they came and filled both the boats, so that they began to sink. But when Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, 'Depart from me, I am a sinful man, O Lord.' For he and all who were with him were astonished at the catch of fish that they had taken. And so also were James and John, sons of Zebedee, who were partners with Simon." So we can see here the Chosen did a really, really good job with this passage. Almost everything, word for word from here, was in the story that we just watched. But not only were they scripturally accurate, the way that they portrayed this was amazing, from the writing to the acting, and especially for me, the special effects. It was awesome to see. Because I bet that most of you didn't even realize that those fish weren't real, not a single one of them. And all of it was special effects. They had this giant green blob that they used to key out in the scene and to make this special effect happen. It was amazing. And the way that they had the actors pull up this heavy bag filled with balloons, it was it was insane. But it worked out to be one of the most amazing shots of season 1. This is one of the reasons why I love The Chosen, because it's portraying the story of Christ in a way that we've never seen it before, in a way that has been better than what we've seen before. And all of it is just culminating into something beautiful, something amazing. And so I love watching these scenes and kind of digging into them. And then after this, James, John, Peter, and Andrew all just get up and they go with Jesus immediately. Now, I want to do a whole episode on this. Why would these random fishermen just go with Jesus like this? There's actually a really good explanation for this. So make sure you're subscribed so you can see that when it comes out. Let me know if you learned something today, or if you have something to add, please put it in the comments below. I hope you like this video, and thanks for being part of our community. As always, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.